what they're finding in this area alone, in the Broughton Archipelago, there's well over 500 of these known now, from the local knowledge and everything else from that. And what this is that in 5,000 years ago, our people were already doing aquaculture in our territories. And that's really amazing to see the intelligence that they've had way back then. And that's what one of the biggest problems we have today is with the farm fishing industry, or any industry that comes in for that matter, whether it be logging or anything else like that, that we need to look at these and really protect these. These are the history of our people that we're looking at here today. What they did back then was for us to enjoy today. And look at this young guy here, all of the things that we know as adults today have to pass it on to the generations to come so that it never gets lost. You know, the values that we have within just this alone, the clam beds, is so important to our food chain. I think I want to use the word food chain because you know, it's a seasonal thing that we do as First Nations people that is so important to us. You know, in the spring the salmon come, summer the salmon come, in the spring and in the fall and in the winter we use these resources for our own personal use as First Nations people, and that's really important to us to understand the value of the seasons that we gather our traditional foods from. That's really important today.
So these, what are these things here that we're here to see?
These are called, today's language, they're called clam gardens. But what these were built by our ancestors 5,000 years ago, and it's amazing just to be able to see that and understand how intelligent they were back then. You know, to be able to figure out how to build these clam terraces so that we can enjoy it today, and that, you know, that's amazing just to think about that and how intelligent they were back then. You know, that's really important for us to understand and to be able to pass that on. Like I keep saying, you know, they knew what they were doing back then. Yeah. You know, they were so intelligent, and yet modern day people think we're just savages and think we know nothing and don't understand the values of our traditional ways that we fight to protect all of the time. On a zero tide, you can see exactly how this was structured on a zero tide. That's really important to understand how. I mean, right now you got a 4.2 or 3 tide, where that just gives you the ability to come and dig clams.
Right.
At this time, but I mean, on a zero tide, you'd be amazed to see how big this was. How big this actually is.
The terrace itself. Yeah.
It goes down about 15 to 20 feet.
Right.
If not 30.
Wow.
It took a lot of time and effort just to do this. And all hand done, you know. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Maybe we got to come out here more often and really document these kind of things so that it's really important for people to understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
How valuable this is to our people. We need to be able to combine that,
right.
And through that combination, we can start a co-management of how we want to see industries come into our territories, how we can be a part of the decision-making process and things like that. So that's really important to us as First Nations people. You know, we need to protect our interests as well as theirs, and be able to go forward in a way that is going to protect both interests.
Yeah,
I think that's really important.
Yeah. So you were just saying that a lot of these like co-management stuff could tie in with what we're negotiating for a treaty.
Well, that's one of the most important things that we're talking about when we're talking about the treaty today. If we're not involved in the co-management of all of the things that are of value to us, there isn't going to be a treaty process going to go forward. And that's really important for any government, or both levels of government, to understand. Because for far too long, we've lost too much as First Nations people without our input. You know, I mean, one of the most important things that they need to understand is the value of the knowledge that we have within ourselves to understand. You know, when I read articles about we're not ready for treaty, and I see politicians telling us that we have no idea on how to manage, 5,000 years you're looking at management. That was before contact, and so it gives you a good indication how intelligent our people were in the past. And we all learn from that. Everything that I do today was passed down from generation to generation to generation, and go on to the next generation, and on and on and on.
Right.
You know, that's really important for us as First Nations people. We don't want to lose that.
No.
We don't want to lose the values of the things that we have in the ocean, or even in the forest for that matter.
Right.
And we need to find a mechanism to make it work for all of us.
Yes. Cool.
Hey.
Thank you.